And the person we have joining us on the phone right now to talk about what I consider to be a referendum on Elon Musk, but we'll get a local perspective on that. He's a really good reporter for CBS 58 News from Milwaukee, and he's joining us on the line right now. Adam Reif joining us. Adam, I do appreciate you being here on a very busy day for you. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thanks for having us. Yeah, a lot of follow-up here after a very busy couple of months on this campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you agree in general? I know this is more of an opinion, but do you feel like the voters in Wisconsin made this, in a way, sort of a referendum on Elon Musk, or do you think there's maybe a lot more to it than that?
Well, it's certainly varied reasons for people getting involved. This was definitely a hot race before Elon Musk started pumping all the money into it, but we certainly heard from people on the campaign trail after he was adding more and more money. And, we'll get the final totals in a couple of days when all the reports are finalized, but we believe it's higher than $25 million. Interest was very high before Elon got involved, but it certainly just skyrocketed afterwards.
Do you feel like, Adam, that some of these people, certainly who voted for Donald Trump, may have flipped a little bit and said, you know what, I'm going to vote for Susan Crawford? You're on the ground there. Have you talked to Trump supporters that maybe voted for Susan Crawford?
We have, and it's hard to find some that will say that publicly. One of the figures that the Republicans were talking about in the past couple of weeks was the turnout for Donald Trump in November. If they could get 60% of the votes, that was the target number, 60% of the turnout that Trump got in November, they felt like they would win this race. And they didn't come anywhere close to that. There were about 200,000 votes shy of where they were targeting. And so it was a turnout issue, but it was also the issues as well. We heard a lot of people, and it was hard to tell if they had voted for the president, but we heard from a lot of people who were talking about issues specific to Wisconsin. Yes, the president won in November largely on a national economic agenda, but here in Wisconsin, it's been several years now of local statewide races that have gone blue, whether it's the governor a couple of times, attorney general a couple of times, our state super in charge of the school system a couple of times now, and now 2 state Supreme Court races. We've also had a few agenda items that have gone to the blue side. And to be fair, there are a couple of statewide ballot issues that have gone red over the past couple of years, but the big ticket items, reproductive health questions, ballot issues, those have gone largely blue. And so the local issues, I think, are what drove this the most and got people most involved. The Elon money then drove it over the top, and it really helped the turnout for Democrats to be pointing to the largest donor, the richest man in the country, the buzzwords that we heard over the campaign. They were running a strong campaign on the issues up until Elon got involved, but afterwards, it was an easy thing to point to. And the Republicans on the other side didn't have easy targets to point to in the opposite direction. Yes, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois offered $1.5 million to the Crawford side. Yes, George Soros offered $2 million to the Crawford side, but those figures paled in comparison to the easy target of Elon Musk on the Republican side.
So, Adam, it sounds to me like you're saying that when Elon Musk got into this thing and was putting all this money into Schimmel, it actually helped Democrats and it hurt Republicans. Is that fair to say?
I think it is fair to say. And what's interesting, Brian, is we heard similar tactics on the Republican side as well, where I heard several times the best thing for Republicans was Susan Crawford's record, they would tell me. And the best thing for Democrats, they would say, is Elon Musk's money. So it was oftentimes, yes, trying to promote your candidate, but they were also, both sides, targeting the other candidate, targeting the other record, targeting the other donors. It was as much a negative campaign about the other side's deficiencies as it was a positive campaign about their side's positives.
So for people nationally who don't know a lot about Susan Crawford, and I'll be honest with you, I was one of them until I read about her. Wonderful family woman, just a decent, good, kind person who obviously leans to the left, but cares about, social issues, women's rights, whether it be equality. I've done a little research on her. Can you just talk about her career a little bit, spanning over the years, and just her character and her family life?
Well, she certainly has promoted that all along the way. And both of these candidates have tried to humanize themselves as best they can, because once you get in the national sphere, that starts to take over. The narrative driven by either national pollsters or politicos or some of the issues. They sometimes get swept. The candidates themselves get swept to the side and are overshadowed. But Susan Crawford has really worked for a couple of decades now, up through the state system and the court system, and has really promoted herself as one of those people representing communities, representing women's issues, as you mentioned, really focused her campaign on the issues at stake. And that's something that we heard from not just her, but also the Democratic surrogates, is making this a campaign when talking about Susan Crawford, talking about her tangibles, about her record, about the issues she cares about, trying to shine the spotlight on some of those things that people may not know about. To your point, we did Marquette Law had a poll a couple of weeks ago that showed the favorables and unfavorables for each candidate. Well, the third option is, I don't know enough about this candidate. And Susan Crawford at that time, about a month ago, had well over 50% of respondents saying, I don't know enough about this candidate to have an opinion. And that's when they really kicked into gear the ads and on the ground efforts to show who this woman is and how she is, as you said, a family person, a mother, et cetera, and how that would translate to the bench.
Sure. Adam, last question for you, then I know you got to run, and we appreciate your time. Should Republicans be concerned, and could this be a sign of things to come, not just in Wisconsin, but the entire country?
And that's the story for today, Brian, in the next couple of days here in Milwaukee and across the country as well, is what does this signal? The last night, the talk of the room when I was with the Schimmel campaign was the frustration with the state GOP party, with the lack of aggressiveness. And it's hard to say in a race that raised well over $100 million on both sides, but very frustrated Republicans in Wisconsin criticizing the strategy of the state party, wanting to go in a different direction. I think we will see that play out over the next couple of weeks as we have our Republican convention here in the state for 2025. But also nationally, I think it's going to really focus a light on the difference between the national platform and the state platforms. We've seen in the wake of Roe v. Wade, of course, several issues come about in red states that went to the blue side in those elections when the electorate went to the polls. I think this really shines a spotlight on the difference between what people care about at a ground level in their communities, what's at stake when it comes to gerrymandering, when it comes to voting maps, when it comes to reproductive health, when it comes to a lot of those local community issues versus the big picture items we see every 4 years when it is a presidential election. I think we have obviously the day after, which is too early to tell, but I think a lot of states will be doing an audit of their strategies and seeing the difference between the off-year elections and the on-year presidential elections and maybe having to change their tactics for the two.
Well, Adam, great stuff, man. Really appreciate your work over there at 58 News, CBS in Milwaukee. I appreciate your time on such a very busy day for you guys. But thank you so much, sir, for your time. We really appreciate you.
Thanks much, Brian. We're all drinking from a fire hose here. So back to work.
Fair enough. Back to work, Adam. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. That's Adam Reif, everybody, CBS 58 News in Milwaukee. Really good reporter. And he works with somebody that I used to work with back in the day. Really good at what he does. And, hey, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But the bottom line here is whether you think we're overstating this or not, this is a good day for Democrats. It's certainly a good day for those that are anti-Donald Trump and anti-Elon Musk, certainly in the state of Wisconsin.